Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully, I won't be on for a long amount of time, but I did want to come back on and give you some updates. So, if you just give me a second, okay, I can see you guys on the Facebook page, and I need to turn on my lights. So, just give me 1 second here. Thank you guys for coming and watching me. Um, a lone ranger on all of this. So sometimes I get so caught up in trying to get on that I don't realize I haven't set myself totally up yet. So give me 1 second here. All righty. All right. So kind of picking up where we left off yesterday, we were talking about the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act that is proposed. It is in the House of Representatives. And I told you the process that it goes through. It goes to the House of Representatives. They strip it, do whatever they need to do it, flip it, flop it, get it to where they can vote on it. Then they vote on it. If it passes, it then goes to the Senate. The Senate does the same thing. And if it passes, it then goes to the president's desk for signing. And he can either sign it as is, or he can veto it, and then it gets sent back to the Senate if he vetoes it, and they can vote on it once again. And if it passes with 2/3 majority, then it becomes a law and they can override the veto. Otherwise, it's back to the starting block. Okay. So that's what happens when we have a bill that is proposed. A bill is a potential law that can be passed. And so all the studying that I'm doing, all the researching that I'm doing, it's this or the stimulus payment, which is the $2,000 a month. If that doesn't seem to be something that they want to pass, then this is kind of a backup plan saying, hey, look, well, what about this? And so it's called the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act of 2020. The top level of it is that for the time of COVID-19 from, and I believe they gave dates. Let me look on here. The COVID, let me go to the definitions because I believe that's where it is. So COVID beginning April 1st to 30, and then ending upon the expiration of the 30-day period that begins upon the date of termination by the Federal Emergency Management Agency of the emergency declared on March 13th, 2020. So whatever day that they say COVID-19 is no longer an epidemic and we are past it and everything can go back to normal, the expiration date of this act would be 30 days later. So let's just say for those of you that are like, Linda, I'm still not getting it. So April 1st, 2020 through, let's say they said 18 months. So let's say from April to like September of next year, September 30th of next year, then this would be into place during all of that time plus 30 days. So it really would not expire until October 30th. Okay. Does that make sense to you now? So they say that it ends September 30th. And I'm not saying this in set in stone. I'm giving you an example so you can wrap your head around the time frame that could be. Okay. So they're saying that from April 1st, 2020 to the end of the epidemic, and I gave it a date to help you understand what I'm trying to say. The end of the epidemic, let's say that's September 30th, right? So then it would be 30 days after that. So 30 days after September 30th, that's when this would end. Now, if it goes into 2025 or 2020, whatever the end date is, 30 days after that, that's when it would end. Okay. So, and what they are proposing is that the rent be suspended or mortgage payments be suspended, and there be no fees, there be no debt, there be no repayment, and there would be no adverse effect on credit scores for this. There would be no evictions because the people are not paying. There would be no foreclosures because the people are not paying. So that's what it would be for the individual living in the home, whether they are a renter or they are purchasing their home. And those that elect to do this and be a part of this, those that elect to be a part of this, that means the landlords and or mortgage companies that want to be a part of this, they cannot they won't be able to raise the rent for 5 years. So it will be rent control for 5 years. If the place becomes available, they would have to open it up to Section 8 and, anyone that is needing a place to live. So they would have to widely advertise that they have this place available because they've received this money. And so that's kind of what I wanted to go into, because I really think I covered it for the individual that would be paying the rent or paying the mortgage, but I didn't really go into the landlord relief fund as much, because I felt that most of us just want to know about, we can get our mortgage or we can get our rent suspended. But the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development is the one that would be the overseer of this, and they're calling it the Landlord Relief Fund. So you just don't have to not allow them to pay rent. They are looking at getting you some type of money. Now, the interesting thing is that if you are a landlord, right, that means you have a mortgage, and this does not qualify you to do this for every property that you own. You can only do it for your primary property. And so even if you are a landlord, you can only get this assistance as an individual for the home you live in. You would not be able to do this for the rental properties. This is why they have the Landlord Relief Fund that comes into play, because you would still have to pay, even though you have gotten a suspension on the house that you live in, right? You would still have to be paying the mortgage on the places that you rent out to others. And so that's where this comes into play. Okay, so the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development is the overseer of this, and so they are the ones that would make the governing decisions and all of that. There is an application for this that you would fill out to get what they call to apply for the reimbursement payments from the fund, which applications shall include the certifications and binding agreements required pursuant to the subchapter. And again, one of the things that you would have to agree to is rent freeze. The monthly rent for the dwelling unit may not be increased from the amount of such rent charged as of the date of the enactment of the act. So basically what they're saying is, if you charge someone $2,500 to live in the place at the time that this goes into law, and you decide to participate in this, that $2,500 per month rent has to stay that way. And again, the duration is a 5-year period beginning upon the initial receipt by which lessor or payment made under this section. So basically, 5 years from the day that you receive that first initial payment, you cannot raise the rent. Okay? Just know that. So there's 5 years that you cannot raise the rent. There has to be a rent freeze. There has to be just cause evictions. So basically, you cannot evict them just because you want to. There has to be a just cause in order for you to evict the people out. And if your property becomes vacant, you have to not discriminate against sources of income. So therefore, if someone has a Section 8 and they want to rent your property and it's a good fit, then you have to allow them to rent your property. Again, like I said, new vacancies, you have to then you have to let all of the agencies know that this property is now available. There can be no, you can't pick and choose. Yes, you can still check credit and do background checks and all of that stuff that you normally do, but it has to be just. It has to be fair. It can't be, well, I didn't want to rent to, and you don't really say this, but, sometimes you say it to people and, things get around because you don't know who knows, and we're all 6 degrees separated, right? So you want to make sure that when you're making the decision, if you get involved in this program, when you make your decision, that decision is based solely on the facts. No, there can be no sniffing of discrimination. Okay. There is no retaliation. You can't retaliate against someone who didn't pay you the rent. Thus, you're going to, try to rent it from up under them, or none of that. No retaliation. No debt collectors or credit reporting agencies. So you cannot report their credit on the credit and say that they were late or any of that. You have to abide by the rules of it. So there are some stipulations. They're not just going to give you this money and then you do what you want to do. Now, there are repercussions for tenants that don't follow the rules, right? It's a $5,000 penalty for the first offense, $10,000 for the second offense, and $50,000 for 3 or more offenses. And so there are some repercussions. So the tenant can't just live there and be doing whatever they want to do. The person paying the mortgage can't just live there and do whatever they want to do. There are some things that they will have to follow. And if they do not follow those, you do have repercussions to be able to take them to court. And you have up to 2 years from the time that it happened to take them into court and to get a judgment by the court, not by you, but by the court. Okay. You cannot have duplication of assistance. So you can't do this to more than one property. And let's see, what else did I want to bring out? Now, some tenants may not take them up on this, and they will like, I don't need that. I can pay my rent, or I can pay my mortgage, so I'm going to continue to pay it. You don't have to worry about paying them back if, after a while they're like, well, I've been paying my thing. Can I get my money back because I need it now? You don't have to reimburse them if they paid the rent. You can keep the money. And then you can work out some agreement moving forward with them. But as long as this is in place, at any time they could go and apply and say, I want to have my information suspended. I want to have my information suspended.
Here's what I found on the web.
I'm sorry. Somehow Google thinks I want to talk to it. Okay, so hopefully that is clear. If it's not, please put comments or questions in the chat and I will make sure that I get to it. Let's see, what else do we have here? And like I said, for those of you that are on Facebook, I am in the chat. If you are on Facebook or on YouTube and you want to talk to me specifically, because you're watching live, you can go to StreamYard.com, and you can, I'm gonna put the banner up for that. You can go to StreamYard.com and you can get a free account, and that way I can see your comments as I'm talking. Whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, I can see your comments while I'm talking, and I can answer any questions while I'm still live. And like I said, I'm in Facebook on my phone. So if you are trying to talk to me there, we can absolutely chit chat. And I got to figure out how to get the closed captions off. I'm going to work on that. I just see that they were there the last time and they were there again this time. So I'm going to see if I can work on that. See, priority in making payments under the section, the secretary shall establish a tiered system for priority for such payments. So basically, they're not just going to blanketly give out payments. There's going to be a system, you know, a process to getting you the payment. And so based on that, on assets, revenues, disclosure requirements, and profit status with respect to the lesser, such system shall provide priority for making payments to eligible lessors that are nonprofit organizations or entities, and lessors having the fewest available amounts of assets. So again, they're going to be doing it for how in need are you? If you're in need of it more than someone else, then you're going to get the money first, because they recognize that you are probably in more danger of having an adverse effect. And so that's the same with the rent and the mortgage. So the lender and the lessor. Then there is the Affordable Housing Acquisition Fund. This is for people that live in the projects. I didn't even know we still had those things around, but I guess we do. And so they're saying to ensure that people that live in the projects or in a project type setting, and let me go ahead and give you the definition of what they consider. Let me find it. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, doo, doo, boo, boo, boo. That's my hold music. Let's see. Okay, so definitions, here we are. So for purposes of this act, the following definitions shall apply. And I'm going to go to the affordable. I believe they have a definition in here. So multi-family housing project. The term multi-family housing project means a residential structure consisting of 5 or more dwelling units. So if a landlord has like a triplex and there's like 6 units or 5 or more units, like they say, then that is considered a multi-family residential housing project. And so therefore, these are the terms that would qualify for you. So basically, this is to ensure that tenants have access to safe and habitable housing conditions, regardless of their landlord's ability to pay for repairs and maintenance during and after the COVID-19 epidemic, prevent financial hardship for rental property owners, and prevent a mass exit in the rental housing market that results in massive corporate purchases similar to 2008 economic crisis. So they're trying to keep it from the bottom from falling out of the real estate. So trying to keep the bottom from falling out of the real estate industry. And so that's why they have this. And so it's the first right to purchase. If the situation gets to the place where, sorry, I'm an ice chewer, I couldn't resist. If the situation gets to the place where the landlord feels that they need to sell, they would be able to then give the first right to purchase to the actual person that's living in the unit. Okay. And the HUD, or the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, would then have funds made available to these individuals if they so choose to purchase the property. The owner has notified the Secretary in accordance with such requirements as the Secretary shall establish of the owner's intent to sell or transfer the property. Uh, a period of 60 days beginning from the provision of such notice to the Secretary has lapsed, and if during such 60-day period any eligible purchaser under paragraph 3 applies to the Secretary for purchase assistance under subsection C with respect to such property, the Secretary has approved or denied such application, and if approved, the eligible purchaser has made a bona fide offer to the owner to purchase such project in the amount determined under subsection C3A. And again, that's going to be based on the value of the property at the time of the sale. So if the landlord says, okay, HUD, I am going to sell my property, and I've let my tenants know, and now I'm letting you know, and I have a few tenants that are interested in maybe purchasing the property, they would then go and get the paperwork that's necessary to fill out to apply for whatever assistance is available to them. And they are saying that within 60 days, they will make a determination whether to approve that person or deny that person. If they are approved, that person then needs to go to the landlord and make an offer. And if that offer is made, it is made based on the value of the property. Okay. And then notice to the eligible purchasers upon provision to the Secretary of the notice under paragraph 1A regarding a multifamily housing project, the Secretary shall take such actions as may be necessary to provide notice of eligible purchasers of the owner's intent to sell or transfer the property. Eligible purchasers for purpose of this section, an eligible purchaser under this paragraph shall be a nonprofit organization, a public housing agency, a corporate housing association, a community land trust, or a state or unit of local government, or an agency thereof, as such terms are defined by the Secretary of the State. And the purchase assistance, that application, again, there's going to be an application to go through. The criteria for that is the amount pursuant to the application submitted under paragraph 1 with respect to a multi-family housing project. The Secretary may provide assistance from the fund on behalf of eligible purchasers submitting such application in an amount equal to the purchase price for the project agreed to under subparagraph A of this paragraph, but only if the Secretary determines that A, such eligible purchaser and the owner of such multi-family housing project have voluntarily agreed to a sale of such project to the eligible purchaser for an amount not exceeding the fair market value of the property as of the time of provision of assistance from the fund for purchase of the project as determined by the secretary. So basically, no bullying people into selling, no bullying people into buying. As long as it's a mutually agreed upon a arrangement, then the Secretary of State will go through the process. But if they come to find that someone bullied someone or tried to force someone to do something against their will, then that will null and void the proceedings. The eligible purchaser has made the certifications or certifications and entered into the agreements required under subsection D with respect to the projects. So again, there are a few restrictions based on current laws that are in place, which is Kenstron Gonzalez National Affording House Act, and then there is the just cause. So again, you have to have just cause to evict someone out. There cannot be any source of discrimination, no restrictions, and supportive services. Supportive services, residents of the project shall be provided with free voluntary supportive services to help address the needs of those experiencing chronic homelessness or housing instability, including access to health care, employment, education assistance, child care, financial literacy, education, and other community-based support services as the secretary requires. So basically, if the individual is denied that they can, based on their credit or whatever their criteria is to approve or deny them, if that comes to place and the place is going up and say somebody else is coming in and purchasing that property, and maybe at that time of purchase they're saying, well, we want to clean it out because we want to go in and fix everything up, and we can't do it while people are living there. We don't want to put them in jeopardy. There will be supportive services for people that may get displaced because of that. Now, there has to be a just cause, and so you have to know what your state will allow you to do or won't allow you to do. Because if your state, it says that if somebody is renting the unit, you can't kick them out without giving them proper notice, which you have to give notice anyway, at least 30 days notice. If you don't do that, right, you could be looking at some potential lawsuits. However, if that is the case and you've given the adequate amount of time for them to move out and to find another place, there will be supportive services for them that will help them with homelessness, housing stability, including excessive access to health care, employment, education assistance, child care, financial literacy, education, and other community-based supportive services. And so they're going to make sure that they get the help that they need to move forward. Okay, so no one is going to be without. And this is democratic control. The tenants of the project shall have control of living and operating conditions in the project through the democratically elected resident board or council. So there has to be a board that oversees everything to make sure that stuff is getting fixed and all of that. The oversight is there, or the overseeing is there, not the oversight. And again, no recapture. Recapture if an eligible purchaser violates any requirement with respect to a multi-family housing project purchase with assistance provided by the fund under any certification or agreement enter into pursuant to subchapter D. The secretary shall recapture. I said no recapture, but if you mess up, if you don't follow the rules, the secretary will then recapture from the eligible purchase an amount equal to the amount of such assistance provided and shall cover such amounts recaptured into the fund. Okay. So then the last part of it says authorization of appropriations, there is authorized to be appropriated for the Affording Housing Acquisition Fund established pursuant to this section, such sums as may be necessary for the assistance under this section to fund acquisitions of multifamily housing projects by eligible purchasers, and for each fiscal year for assistance for the operation and maintenance of eligible properties purchased with the assistance provided by the fund. So basically, you cannot be a slumlord, because they are going to give you money to make sure that you maintain the properties. So that is the bill. It's this or that. And who knows, it could be this and that. But we do know that they are working on that. The president signed into law the PPP. So $450 billion has been signed to be given to hospitals, and the breakdown is money is going to the hospitals and more small businesses. So as of, I believe, Monday, today is Friday, April 24th. So as of Monday, which is 25th, 26th, 27th, April 27th, you will be able to go to the small business loan, authorized loan agents, and put in your paperwork. So basically what I would do if I were you, I would reach out to the banks. It's 5 o'clock now, so you can't do it, but I would reach out to your bank that you have a relationship with and say, hey, look, are you going to be doing this SBA loan? I need to get my money in. And remember, there are thousands of people already in the queue. So this money, I believe, as of Monday, the money is probably going to be already drained, I would say. If not on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, the money is going to be drained. But I would definitely spend your weekend. If you have not applied, I would spend your weekend applying, getting the information that you need to apply so that you can get a piece of the pie. And that's it. If you need the help, now if you don't need the help, don't worry about it. But if you need the help, then you need to get in the queue. I know that like I told you guys, I'm still waiting to hear about the EIDL, which is the Emergency Impact Disaster Loan. And they're supposed to give out $10,000. And I'm like, that's all I need. I don't need additional funding, but if you give it to me, I'll take it. But, I just want the $10,000 grant. I still haven't heard. I haven't got a letter. I haven't got an email. I haven't got anything. I do know that I applied on March 31st. So we'll see. The money might have ran out before they even got to me. I don't know, which means that I might be in this next go round. I don't know, but I do know that they have my application and I'm waiting to hear back. And I do know that some people have gotten it and some people are like me. They're still waiting. The law said that they were supposed to give it to you within 3 days, but then I also heard that you had to actually request it. And I believe when I did mine, my request was just putting in the loan, and I didn't make an actual statement that said, send me the money. And I didn't find out until after I had already applied that I might have needed to have that statement. And so if you haven't applied and you're thinking about applying to the SBA for the Emergency Impact Disaster Loan or for the sole proprietor loan, you do have to say that you want that $10,000. And I would be as specific as possible. Please, make a statement like, please send me the $10,000 grant before, as soon as possible, before I'm approved for the loan. So that way you'll get your grant money, your $10,000 grant money, because you don't have to pay that back. And then if they process your loan papers and they decide to give you more money based on the information that you submitted, then that portion they will tell you, and you'll have to follow the guidelines and the specifications that they give you to see if any or a portion of that will be forgivable. So hopefully this has been beneficial to you. Again, get with your tax professional, get with your CPA, your accountant. Make sure you have all of your ducks in a row, because I understand there are some hoops to follow. I personally wasn't going to apply for PPP. I just think if they give me the emergency loan, that grant is all that I really need to keep all of my businesses afloat, and I can then allocate it and do what I need to do to keep everything going and, make it through, hopefully glide through this without too much effect on my finances, or and then I may be able to hire a few people, because you guys know I need it. I need some folks to help me out. But anyway, so if you have any questions, make sure you type them below. Like and follow. Please like, follow, and on YouTube, subscribe so you can be notified of when I'm coming on live. If you're on my tax tip page on Facebook, please make sure that you go and you like the page, so one, you'll know when I'm going live and or when I post something. And for those of you that are looking for a good tax professional to make sure that you're getting everything that you need, you can schedule a free consultation and review by going to idotaxesbyday@gmail.com and just say, hey, look, girlfriend, can you look my stuff over and make sure that I'm getting everything that I'm supposed to get? I can go back 3 years, so 2016, 2017, 2018. If you really want me to go back to 2016, you got to get it to me as soon as possible. And I do have a portal that is secure that you can upload all your documents to, and you don't have to worry about it being hacked. You're not going to email it to me. You're not going to text it to me. You're going to use that secure portal for your stuff to keep you protected, keep you and me protected, okay? So I'm looking forward to it, but go ahead and send me an email at idotaxesbyday, and or reach out to me on Facebook or YouTube, and I will get back to you and set up a time that we can chit chat over the phone. And if you're local in my area, we may be able to do a social distancing. You know what I'm saying? You stay over there with your mask and gloves. I stay over here with my mask and gloves, and we can talk. Yes, yes, yes. Spray a little Lysol on the paperwork, and we can do it however you want to do it. But I keep you safe as you keep me safe, and I make sure that you get everything that you deserve as far as it goes for your taxes. For some of you, you know that I'm also a financial education or financial literacy educator, and so I help you with your credit. I also help you with budgeting and things of that nature to make sure that you are getting the most, because in this time, in this day, in this age, if you don't have a good budget, if you are not taking care of your money, then your money is a mistress, and she is going out and she's sleeping with everybody and anybody, but she's not sleeping with you. Okay? That's all I'm saying. So you definitely want to know how to take care of your money. You definitely want to be monitoring your credit scores. You definitely want to utilize this time when people are panicking and paranoid and hoarding and all of that stuff to make sure that you're setting yourself up for the future, because we shall get past this. And when we get past this, you don't want to be in the same situation you were when you came into it. You want to be in a better situation. And so take advantage of this time. Make sure that you are educating yourself as well as keeping yourself safe. Talk to you guys soon. I may be back one day next week as things develop. I will come on. I know some of my competitions and some of my colleagues are doing it every single, but there's nothing to really report every single day. I don't think I need to come on here every day. So I will come on when the big stuff is happening. And sometimes that will be planned and sometimes it won't be. But I will always try to give you guys a couple of days notice to let you know that I'm going live so you can be here. So you guys be good. I am Linda. I am a senior tax analyst with H&R Block, and I am looking forward to taking you to your next level.